Hello, my name is Brant, and today is the 20th day of September 2020. And I want to entitle this particular talk about why be honest in any relationships. So, this is geared to not only relationships with the opposite sex, but also with friends, and why it's important to be honest and lay groundwork and the foundation for not only a good friendship and not only and also for a relationship if you choose to be with a mate. I think it's important that you be honest with one another at first. And I think it's important that men do this more than anything else. I'm not saying that women are not important. It's just simply saying that if you are, especially in a relationship that is, or dating someone, you need to set the groundwork. You need to set the foundation of what I call being honest. And it also is with friendships, so that you are in control. And what I mean by that is that your agenda is that you're going to be honest about this whole thing. And the choice is for a friend. Either they're going to agree with that or they're going to not agree with that. And so you may have a friend for a while and then that may dissipate. But also in a relationship with a mate, or potential mate, I should say, you're setting the groundwork and saying who you are and what your terms are. You're saying, honesty to me is the number one thing. You're saying, I don't compromise, and I'm not going to tell you lies. I'm not weak. You may not like me. Fine. You were not the right person for me in the first place. So that sets the agenda. That sets it and says, okay, your standards are high. There are other standards, yes, but they need to be high, because so many people today, for convenience, will lie. And then what you proclaim to someone else, either they respond and like with that or they don't, so you don't waste your time. They know where you're coming from, and they know simply is that's too much work and I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. It also sets up what I call the good suitors, that is those who are potential mates, so that they see who you are, and then they realize that's what I'm looking for in a relationship. That's what I'm looking for in a friendship. If you don't, you choose the wrong suitors, then you'll find out real quick that you didn't stand, and suddenly you're in a predicament. And a lot of times that predicament is either eventually you're going to have to realize either you kind of fell in love with a person or you have feelings for that person, and now you're in trouble because now you realize I've got someone here that's not what I want, or you fool them in thinking that you're somebody else. I think being honest in a relationship not only sets the agenda, not only sets the foundation, but it allows freedom from the other side so that the other person can be honest with you also. Very, very important. That's how it all works, you see. If you're honest with someone and you relay that and you set that groundwork, you set that foundation, then reality simply is the responses will be that simply they will respond in like and allow something to start flowing and to build something. But if there isn't, then you haven't wasted your time, and a lot of times you haven't wasted money in a relationship or a friendship that really is not going to go anywhere. So you eliminate, like I said, the suitors, the people who quote unquote that are not going to meet your expectations. I think it's also important that basically you be honest no matter what. You see, you're sowing seeds also. You're sowing seeds in a relationship or a friendship. So in the future, that they can count on you too. And also, with you doing this, you are in harmony with yourself. You don't have to remember what you said 2 weeks ago when you lied to someone. You see, it's easy to remember if you tell the truth because you will remember the truth and share that. But if you lie to someone, you don't remember when you did it and what you said. You see, you also, when you don't do these things, you set yourself up to get hurt. Or you set yourself up to hurt someone else. We got a lot of people here that are have, as I've seen, have been, have had relationships with others, and they've been either burned or they burned someone else. They've hurt someone. They've done it on purpose. Maybe they didn't do it on purpose. But there are a lot of hurt people out there. And hurt people tend to hurt others too. So if you're not committed and you don't want, you're not committed to being honest, then you don't need to be in a relationship at all. You don't. Because you're setting up not only to hurt yourself, but you're setting up someone else to get hurt. And if you do that, you're going to pay the price. I don't Mickey Mouse here, folks. You just don't do these things. It's just, you're it would be better if you don't want to be honest in a relationship, with a friendship, whatever you want to call it. It'd be better you simply stay single. I'm not kidding. And I think as I talk about honesty, I think also simply is that we can talk about the issue of simply manipulation. I shared this, I guess, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago about the Officer and Gentleman, the movie. And if you watch the movie or remember the movie, simply is there were two girls, two guys that were into what I call wanted to fly jets for the Navy. Basically called, I guess it's lack of, I don't remember, but it's like officer candidate school. They're going to be somewhat higher than the regular person out there. They're going to be flying a multi-million-dollar jet, and that one girl chose to manipulate the guy. And the sad thing is someone took their lives, and the other one paid a price because she never really found someone, and then you got that on your conscience. That's, again, I'm just talking about the Officer and Gentleman does this. It's showing a moral perspective in how you treat each other. Men and women there's no sense in manipulating anybody. That's why I say just be honest. It just makes it easy. And manipulating someone simply is that you're trying to be somebody you're not. So you're not happy who you are. And if you're not happy who you are, then that's another red flag. You see, it's a red flag. It means that simply is you're looking for somebody else to make you whole. That is, you're not content. You don't understand yourself well enough to realize how you fit. And if you're that, not only insecure, but you're not what I call, that's the lack of a word I'm trying to think here, is being responsible, then again, it's best that you basically be single until you can grow up. Too many people play games. And many think, well, I'll play that game and I'll get away with it. Yeah, you will get away with it. But eventually someone will do it to you. And then you're going to feel the effects. And that's part of karma too. You see. And it's easy when you realize that you are insecure, that you are not taking this to being a serious situation. So you're not serious in this relationship per se. You're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. And you are setting yourself up to hurt someone else or to hurt yourself. And then, guess what? You're messed up. You're hurting. And then, if you haven't dealt with that, you're going to go back into a relationship and you're going to hurt someone else. Sometimes not even knowing you're doing it. Some are knowing they're doing it, but some are not. Thinking they've healed themselves when in reality they're not healed. I see this, I think, also with the relationships to be that one partner thinks that they can change the other. Really? Don't think so. Don't ever count on that. If you think you're going to change someone, it ain't going to work that way, folks. So you're already compromised. You're not willing to say no. In other words, you're holding on because you're insecure. And you're holding on, not wanting to lose that relationship with someone. And you're thinking you're going to be able to change someone when in reality it doesn't work that way. If you're going to do that, if they're not going to change in the relationship that you're dating someone, then it's not going to change in a marriage. It won't. Because then you're married. You're committed, supposedly. So there's no reason to change for most people. And so it won't happen. And then you'll be the one who gets hurt because you settle for less. It's best that you pursue what you really want and what you want to pursue. And if that person is not what you want, break it off. Do not compromise. It's actually better to be single than to be married with someone or having a relationship with someone and feeling controlled or trapped would be a good word in that relationship. So guess what? You're worse off than you were when you were single. You see? And they're going to be, what if you got kids? What if you got kids? What's going to happen then? You see, it's no longer just you and someone else. It's somebody else's children. So what happens then? See, that one mistake along, and then you make another mistake because you compromise again, possibly again not being honest, or the other person not being honest with you, and you're not sensing what's going on. And love is a funny thing. It's kind of eliminates your sensors. You say, well, you don't perk up. You're not sensitive to what's going on. Well, wait a minute. This person just lied to me. And a lot of times you simply need to confront that with them. And if they don't see it that way, then you basically need to break up with them. I know that sounds really drastic. But what do you want? What do you want to manifest? See, that's what this is all about. You want to manifest, you want to be the person that you want for the other person. In other words, you basically want to reciprocate. So when you choose to do what's right and be honest with one another, you're manifesting that. And you may find that you may make someone come in and you think it's right, and yet what happens simply is they're not what you want. But you continue to manifest what you want. If you compromise, then you settle for second best or third best. And then, like I said just a while ago, if you're in a relationship long enough and you have a child or two, then they're going to feel the insecurities, what took place, and you can't protect them because they're gonna sense it. Something's wrong. It's gonna impact them enormously, especially at a young age. I'm not joking here. This is serious stuff. And most people fly by the seat of their pants. Another thing that takes place that we don't know in our lives is that we have expectations from the partner and what we had at our own parents. So we're expecting them to know what our parents were like towards us. So there's a sense he'll know what I want, or she will know what I want. When you know they won't know. And also, you bring in a relationship, you bring in your ideas of what you think a relationship should be or a marriage should be based upon your parents' what you grew up in your own house. You see? So your expectations. And most people, that's the problem. That's the real problem. If someone comes from a broken home, I'm just being serious here. If they come from a broken home, they're going to treat you just like the man treated his mother, man treated his wife, that is your mother or father, whatever way you want to look at it here. And you're not going to be expecting that. You're thinking he's on the same ground with you, and he's not, or she's not. And so they're going to be amazing. They're going to be hurt. There's going to be some hurt feelings there. And if you got kids again, it's a major responsibility. It changes your world. It will rock your world per se. And again, if you're not willing to be honest in any relationship or friendship, especially relationships when you're together, it's best to be single. Because you're going to create a hell for your own self if you don't use the basic guidelines and foundation. And most people who get burned one time, who never get basically settled with what happened, never fix it, you never deal with it, what happened, then they go in another relationship. Don't you see what happens? Why some people get married 3 or 4 times? And each time is they haven't solved the problem. So they not only hurt themselves, supposedly, but they also hurt their partners. So I just want you to understand, this is a serious situation. And I think another thing is really critical here, and this is something that has to be said, especially in the way the West is. A lot of it's to do with money. When I was involved in a particular church in Augusta, I seen some marriages that their parents would pay for their weddings. They spend $40,000 to $50,000 on a 1 or 2 day deal for their daughters. That's a good down payment on a nice house if you think about it. I'm not trying to look at it that way, but I'm just saying simply that's a lot of money. I also think that many women, girls, fall in love with the concept of a wedding instead of a concept of actually loving the guy she's with. So she's not being honest herself. She's in love being married because she's afraid she's going to be left out of the picture here because her so-called friends are getting married or are married, and she feels that she needs to get married. So she compromises, see. And somebody else gets hurt too. You just need to understand here in America, it's a dream world per se. It's a business too. Not for having weddings. It's just a 1 to 2 day deal, type of thing. Everything's got to be perfect. I think all that's changing now because the handwriting's on the wall here simply is that there are less and less people who can afford anything of that nature. So the intentions are different. So I hope that what I'm sharing with you, especially to a younger generation, that you would see the insight and that you would understand simply is there are many reasons to be honest. It kind of eliminates a lot of people in the field. And you're not going to find that perfect person anyway. But you better be well prepared to actually back off if you need to, or say no, or else you're gonna experience a lot of pain and heartbreak. Okay, we will talk to you another time. Thank you for listening.